A folded piece of paper slipped beneath my door in the dead of night. No return address, no explanation, just a cold, final notice. Grandma Rose's house was gone. Sold. It happened without a word, without warning. There were no phone calls, no arguments, only the hollow silence of something vanished, something I thought was mine. That house wasn't just wood and nails. It held the echoes of family dinners, childhood secrets, and the future I believed we shared. But someone made a choice behind my back, someone who knew exactly what they were taking. And I only found out after the deed was done. This isn't a story of loud fights or shattered glass. It's about a quiet betrayal, the kind that cuts deep in the spaces between words, and the consequences that come long after the noise has died. I trusted Emily, my childhood friend, my closest family through all the years. We shared more than memories. We shared a bond built on loyalty and promises, especially about Grandma Rose's house, the last piece of our family's legacy, and a symbol of everything we once believed was secure. But trust wasn't enough to protect that house. Quietly, without warning or discussion, Emily made a choice that erased what I thought was ours. No arguments, no threats, just a signature that wiped away years of shared history. What followed wasn't loud or angry. It was a slow, creeping unraveling. The foundation of our family and the bond I held sacred began to crumble in silence. That house was more than property. It was our past, our future, the unspoken promise of belonging. And now it was gone. The real question became impossible to ignore. How does someone so close take what you cherish most and leave you only with silence? At first, the signs were easy to overlook. Emily's casual remarks seemed harmless, but beneath them, something shifted. Decisions made without me, meetings I wasn't invited to. These small, almost invisible acts felt routine, but they slowly eroded the trust I had taken for granted. When I finally confronted her about the house, her answers were careful and vague. She didn't lie outright, but the spaces between her words were heavy with silence. Doubt settled in, quiet but unyielding. It was like standing in a room where the floor was slowly giving way beneath me. Each avoided question, every missed call, a crack growing wider, threatening to swallow everything I believed unbreakable. I felt the weight in my chest, a dull ache that no explanation could ease. The silence between us stretched farther, colder. These subtle fractures weren't dramatic or sudden, but they marked the beginning of a betrayal that grew quietly in the shadows, unseen until it was too late. The trust I relied on was crumbling beneath my feet, spreading faster than I could stop. Without a word, the silence between us grew heavier each week. Emily's absences stretched longer. Her excuses felt thinner, like cracks in the story she was trying to hold together. Calls went unanswered, messages ignored. Each unanswered phone left a growing ache, frustration twisting into disbelief. Whenever I pressed for answers, she deflected or changed the subject, as if the truth was too fragile to face. She dismissed meetings with the lawyer as routine, but I sensed something hidden, an invisible wall rising between us. Then came the unsettling signs. A final utility bill paid in my name, but no new account opened. Quiet deliveries of documents, proof that the house had been sold. The buyer's name was unfamiliar, the price suspiciously low. It was clear Emily had acted alone, shutting me out completely. I reached out again and again, desperate for answers or even an acknowledgement. Each time I was met with silence or vague reassurances that felt like salt on a fresh wound. This betrayal didn't explode. It crept in, layer by layer, eroding trust until anger felt useless. Restraint wasn't just a choice. It was the only way to keep myself from breaking apart. Every small, silent act deepened the fracture, one I couldn't ignore, one that would change everything. The silent decision. I swallowed the urge to confront her. No outbursts, no accusations, only quiet observation and careful patience. Inside, the anger simmered, sharp and raw, but I knew that reacting without clarity would only widen the fracture. Instead, I focused on gathering facts. Every document related to the house became a puzzle piece. I traced calls and meetings Emily mentioned, piecing together the hidden story. I sought legal advice to map out the remaining options. This silence wasn't a weakness. It was deliberate and powerful. Holding back the urge to confront took strength, more than anyone could see. Patience became my tool, not surrender. The quiet wasn't giving up. It was preparation, measured, deliberate, unstoppable. Choosing restraint helped me keep control when everything felt uncertain. This was the first step toward reclaiming what was taken, not with noise or anger, but with resolve and clear-headed determination. The turning point came in a quiet office where my lawyer laid out the facts with calm precision. The paperwork was thorough. Every signature was valid. The sale was final. On the surface, everything seemed settled, but beneath that finality, the consequences ran deeper than most could see. The lawyer explained that although the property was gone, other assets linked to Grandma Rose's estate remained untouched. What caught my attention was the connection between the buyer and Emily, a relationship I hadn't suspected, but that suddenly made everything click. The buyer was someone Emily had worked closely with, suggesting this sale was part of a larger, calculated plan. More importantly, there were legal avenues still open. The sale might have closed, but delayed consequences were possible. Subtle, strategic moves unfolding behind the scenes, beyond immediate justice or confrontation. As I absorbed this, a cold mix of anger and resolve settled in me. What I thought was the end, the loss of the house, was really the beginning of a deeper battle. The story shifted from loss to strategy. The real fight wasn't over the house itself, but over the hidden consequences that would slowly reshape everything. In the weeks and months that followed, the fallout was quiet but relentless. I pursued legal action deliberately, avoiding spectacle and focusing on steady, careful steps. Each filing, every phone call, chipped away at the facade built in silence. As the investigation deepened, more unsettling truths surfaced. Hidden liens appeared on the property. Unexpected claims emerged on other assets tied to Grandma Rose's estate. It became clear the buyer's intentions were far from innocent. This was part of a larger, calculated scheme. Emily grew increasingly isolated, trapped by consequences she couldn't undo or escape. The betrayal, though silent, echoed loudly through family gatherings. Conversations that once flowed naturally became strained and cautious. People tiptoed around topics that once felt safe. At one dinner, a relative's glance lingered too long, and I caught whispers fading as I entered the room. The silence spoke louder than any argument ever could. There were no dramatic outbursts, no explosive confrontations, just an undercurrent of tension that said everything. The damage went beyond money or property. It was the slow, steady erosion of trust in family bonds. Each legal move, each whispered phone call dismantled what remained of our connection piece by piece. That quiet unraveling proved more devastating than any immediate showdown could have been. Trust, once broken in silence, left a void no apology could fill. This slow fracture reshaped relationships and futures, showing how betrayal carried out without fanfare can be more lasting and corrosive than any public drama. In those moments, I learned some of the most powerful battles happen out of sight, fought not with anger or noise, but with patience, quiet resolve, and measured strategy. The silence after the sale was not empty. It held the weight of consequence, changing everything beneath the surface. Looking back, I realized this story wasn't about immediate justice or loud confrontation. It was about patience, strategy, and the quiet power of inevitability. The house was gone, but what followed was a reckoning that unfolded slowly, revealing itself over time. This became a lesson in restraint, how silence and careful observation often speak louder than words. Betrayal doesn't always come through anger or noise. Sometimes it's carried by quiet decisions that leave lasting marks. Those marks shape relationships and futures in ways not always visible at first. Trust, once broken, rarely returns unchanged. The rupture forces a reassessment of what was once taken for granted and creates space for something new, whether closure, acceptance, or a cautious attempt at rebuilding. The process is neither quick nor easy. It requires time to absorb what happened and to decide how to move forward. Some wounds remain open, while others begin to heal with distance and perspective. The silence that followed was not empty. It held the weight of reflection and recalibration. Ultimately, this was never just about the house or financial loss. It was about the consequences of quiet choices and how they redefined what family means. This experience reshaped my understanding of strength, how it often lies not in confrontation, but in measured response and the courage to face uncomfortable truths with clarity and resolve. The sale was only the first quiet ripple. What followed was a slow, unstoppable reckoning, like a tide rising beneath the surface, reshaping everything in its path. Sometimes the loudest battles are fought in silence, where patience and resolve become the fiercest weapons. In that quiet, the true cost of betrayal is revealed, changing lives without a single word spoken.